session, and it was then that the times really started improving. Third on the grid, Daisuke Ito in the Honda NSX, one of the dome cars, the black and red machine, and that car also looking very long indeed in the qualifying line. Well, Daisuke Ito in the Mugen NSX shares with Ryo Michigami, and alongside him on row 2 of the grid, another Toyota Supra, and one that hasn't gone so well this year, the Project New car of Masari Kageyama, Satoshi Wakisaka. Well, those two both Formula Nippon front runners, as is Ralph Furman, as is Keiichi Tsuchiya, and a number of the other front runner GT class. Incidentally, sharing the front row in the GT 300 class for the smaller cars is VMAC. As for the smaller cars is the VMAC, as Tsuchiya in the Toyota gets in front of Furman at the start. And on this tight and twisty infield section, a clash there leaves, well, big dramas for most of the front runners. You see the two McLaren F1 GTRs as well as a host of the Toyotas and the Hondas stuck in that traffic jam. Well, it was Kanishi's Honda who triggered it all off, spinning, and there you see the damaged number 30 McLaren. That's the Hideki Okada car, and Haruki Kurosawa, and that looks pretty badly wrecked. The Toyota leading, Ralph Furman second place, third place the Honda of Ito, then the Toyota Supra of Wakisaka. That's Yuichi Wakisaka's younger brother in the Project New car. Kurosawa and Satoshi Motoyama in sixth place in the better of the two Nissan Skylines, but it's the Toyota of Tsuchiya that's leading at the end of the first lap. Honda's second and third, Furman and Ito, and the other new Toyota in fourth place. There is the Nissan, and a mistake under braking by Shigekazu Wakisaka, by Takuya Kurosawa rather, almost giving Motoyama a chance to come through. Still, Kurosawa's McLaren struggling back to the pits, and in fact that car will now retire. So another legacy of that clash. Here is the winner at Motegi. That's the Honda NSX, the number 18 car of Sebastian Philippe and Ulsterman Richard Lyons. They are in the pits and unlikely to win here then. We saw the McLaren going in. And there is the SOK car. Ralph Furman now starting to close in on Tsuchiya. This is lap 3. And Furman, as his tyres come in, really starting to pick up the pace. Of course, we've seen at particularly Fuji, the really big long straight where they've raced twice, the Honda has just been left behind by the turbocharged Toyotas, and not so much turbocharged Nissans. Sorry for Nissan Skyline fans, but the Toyota really has it in spades in power terms in a straight line, but on handling, it looks like the NSX's chassis balance is every bit as good as the Toyotas, and perhaps just a fraction more. Tsuchiya really struggling to hold off Furman here. Daisuke Ito still in third place in the car he shares with Ryo Michigami, and of course Dome, big-time single-seater manufacturers, also running their Honda here. The Ralph Furman car run by another big single-seater name, Satoru Nakajima's team, Nakajima Racing. And the 36 car, the Team Tom's Toyota Supra. Under pressure again. Furman showing his intent on the inside line. And now maybe as they catch slower traffic, he will have a chance. Closing in. Well, Tsuchiya makes a decisive move, and there is trouble. That's the number 37 car. And an unexpected blow up for the second of the Tom's Toyota's car. That's Takuya Kurosawa and the Italian Palim Montin in that car. And the Zent-sponsored Tom's Toyota is out of it. So that leaves one Tom's car. All right, they're leading. But a broken turbo on the other car. Perhaps a little bit of a worry. Should be no real reason why another car should suffer turbo failure, but turbo failures are pretty rare in these cars. And that might perhaps indicate a bad batch. Now look at the Ito car in third place. Ito Michigami's machine closing right up and stranded in the gravel there. Third, Nissan, Benoit Treluye, the Frenchman, clashing with, well, predictably, Eric Comas in the other Nissan. Comas' luck going from bad to worse to truly shocking. So an all-French, all-Nissan clash there. And Comas with a broken right rear wheel, sitting on the barriers and watching it all go. He's a spectator, and Nissan's poor luck and poor form continue to dog them throughout 2002. Comas legs it back to the pits as the leaders continue their battle. Top three as close as you like in back marker traffic. And the VMAC leading in the GT300 battle. Battling for first place in the smaller class, but it's Tsushiya's Toyota out front at the moment.
Japan GT Championship with Toyota and Nissan.
Back in the Japanese GT Championships penultimate race, and here at Mine, the Toyota that started on the outside front row is still leading from poleman Ralph Furman. Takeshi Tsushiya there's the HKS Mercedes CLK, the ex-FIA GT World Championship car, which is still struggling to stay competitive here. Benoit Treluye, after his clash with Eric Comas, was going there again. You saw in the privateer Nissan. Ralph Furman attacking on lap 16 as they're in deep traffic. Right behind him, Daisuke Ito in the second Honda NSX. Furman again showing his nose down the inside. Oh, and yellow flags there. He backed out just in time. Another clash at the tight downhill right-handed turn 2. There's Ito in third spot, trailing this lead battle. And the spectators will have looked at the grid sheets, seen 17 cars covered by a second and thought, right, we should be in for a good old dust-up here. There, in the middle of the picture, Satoru Nakajima watching his driver, Ralph Furman, who has been twice a winner this year, chasing for the race lead. There is the Nissan, up into fifth place. Wakisaka in fourth, Motoyama in fifth, and Motoyama all over the back of the Toyota as well. It's an interesting combination of chassis balance and power between these two. The Nissan, well, its new car has been not only a little bit unreliable, but a little bit in trouble with the chassis balance. But now Motoyama seems to have the measure of the Team Mu Toyota Supra right in front of him. Big slide there, though, showing that he is likely to be eating his tyres before their allotted sell-by date. Tsushiya still leading, and Daisuke Ito now getting bored of following Furman and starting to look for second place. The Nissan has moved up as well, fourth place now for the Skyline. And this is starting to shape up into an impressive performance, but again leaving big dark stripes through turn 1. And that can't be good news for the longevity of the Nissan's rubber. Well, whatever, they want to show as strongly as they can at some stage this year, and they've only got this and the final round of the series left to go to do it in, and that's at Suzuka. Suzuka, of course, being Honda land. Might perhaps, you would rather hope for Honda's sake, favour the NSXs rather than the Nissans, but you can never be sure of these things in Japanese GT racing. There is Motoyama now really tramping on, isn't he? Going very quickly indeed. Wakisaka in the Mu Toyota dropping away behind him in fifth position. And Motoyama really picking up the pace. He's going as quickly, if not quicker, than the leaders and starting to reel them in. And that will be a very welcome sight for the beleaguered Nissan team. Kicking off the pit stops then, Hiroki Kato brings in his Honda NSX. Oh, and another move by Daisuke Ito. Just fended off by Ralph Furman on the inside on the left-hander, but not by much. Ito really pressing home his attack here on the second-placed Honda. And Daisuke Ito and Ryo Michigami yet to win a race this season for Dome. Into the pits they come. He's had enough of being held up by the slower cars in front. Thinks, right, get the tyres on, get the fuel in, do the driver change perhaps, and let's get out where we're not being slowed down by the cars in front of us. And that seems like a very sensible idea. Hiroki Kato bringing his NSX in from 9th. Daisuke Ito coming in from 3rd spot then. And they will make the change to Ryo Michigami as the leaders continue. Michigami heads out onto the track in the 16 car, and it worked. He's got plenty of clear road in front and behind. Perfect opportunity to really put in a burst of devastating speed, of which he looked entirely capable. Leader through the GT300 cars. And the cars basically broken up here into 2 classes based on what is estimated to be their performance in terms of horsepower. Weight penalties here for success. Those have been mooted for Formula One and are used in so many other forms of racing to try and level out the playing field. And there is Motoyama still tromping on. Satoshi Motoyama in the Nissan Skyline GTR. As the race leader comes into the pits, Motoyama is second. In gets Wayne Gardner, takes over from Takeshi Tsuchiya, and he heads out onto the track. And again, road to play with for Wayne Gardner, a chance to put in a big stint all of his own. Here is Daisuke Ito. So where is the Mobil 1 Honda? Well, we've seen Tsuchiya go in and out of the pits. Motoyama stayed out. And Ryo Michigami in the 16 car also stayed out. So has the Toyota, oh, spins, Gardner loses it on cold tyres out of the pits. And, oh dear, that won't please Takeshi Tsuchiya very much at all. So, come on Wayne, you know better than that. And there is Ralph Furman then, leading the race. Twice a winner this year, Ralph Furman, with Suge Matsuda. They won the opening race of the season. And in for service, Motoyama hands over the Nissan to Michael Krum of Germany. And Krum heads off out. But he's another man who will be caught out by cold tyres. Ralph Furman continues, but Krum back on track after dropping it off the road. Lucky escape for the Nissan team and their remaining works car. Now the reigning champions in the pits, Takeuchi and Tachikawa, have done their driver change. Out they go. Haven't been really a prominent force here. The British-built Vemac coming out behind them, and in comes the race leader. Ralph Furman will hand over to Sugio Matsuda. Out gets the lanky Norfolk-born Brit, and in gets the more diminutive Matsuda as the race leader gets set to rejoin.
Toyota and Nissan.
Welcome back to round 7 of the Japanese GT Championship at Mine, and out comes the race leader, the Mobil 1 Honda NSX, right in front of an at-speed Ryo Michigami. Michigami now in second place as the Nakajima car rejoins the track. Ralph Furman has handed over to Sugio Matsuda, who is immediately passed before turn 2 by Ryo Michigami, and Matsuda struggling on cold rubber. Michigami's tyres at full temperature, and he breezes by. Well, that's a big problem for the Nakajima car. There's Sebastian Philippe and Richard Lyons' car going through the shot. Nakajima's car goes off the road as Matsuda, another to be caught out by cold tyres away from the pit stops. Well, he was clearly struggling in the first couple of corners, and it'll be a long and bumpy drive back onto the track, and that may well have lost him several leading places. I have to wait until the field resets itself fully to see where he's got to. But look at this, in trouble still, and they are swarming around him. There goes Michael Krum in the Nissan, and they are queuing up to get by. Matsuda, is it more than just the tyres, though? It's possible he might be spilling something onto the rubber, but it looks like he's just again locked up there. Taps another Honda, and there is a dramatic end for one of the GT300 cars. That's the Matsumoto and Taniguchi car. The Mazda RX-7 hitting the Raybrigg Honda of Rocky Kato and Hidetoshi Mitsusada. And the RX-7 and the Honda both looking pretty second-hand as a result. And that all because of Matsuda. Well, Mitsusada, the ex-Formula 3000 driver, drove for Gabriele Raffinelli in the Formula 3000 International Championship 2 or 3 years ago. Now, struggling back to the pits, craning his head forward, undoubtedly trying to see through what remains of the front bonnet, which is up over the top of the windscreen. And in comes the RX-7 as well, and that'll be the end of the race for them. Both those cars will retire on the spot. And that is not going to polish out. Teams behind looking for action, and off goes Sebastian Philippe. Frenchman puts his car off the track as well. And this will be a day to forget for them. No chance of repeating their victory of last time out at Motegi for Sebastian Philippe and Richard Lyons. A really shocking transformation from heroes to zeros in one quick step. Lap 43, and Yuichi Wakisaka's Toyota is in the lead now. I beg your pardon, it's not Yuichi Wakisaka, of course, it's Shigekazu Wakisaka, his brother. Yuichi is in the #1 car, and they finally come in. He hands over to his teammate Kageyama. And as they rejoin, Sebastian Philippe, Ryo Michigami is still thundering around in the lead. Michael Krum's Nissan now up into second place. In third place, the #33 Toyota, the United Yukio Supra. We haven't seen too much of that. It's a Team Tsurumo car, and Masahiko Kondo and Hayanari Shimoda driving that one. Well, a three-strong Toyota battle with the Team Tom's car of Takeshi Tsuchiya and Wayne Gardner now at the helm, starting to fight his way through the order. That's the battle for 7th. He's battling with Jeremy Dufour and Kageyama's Toyota as well. And oops, well, looks like everybody is starting to struggle for grip a little. Matsuda's Honda, by the way, that he shares with Ralph Furman, still in 4th place as all this bumping, barging and nerfing goes on. That was Ara's Toyota, the 25 car, spinning out the 35 car of Kageyama. Michigami leads, Krum in 2nd place, and this will be the best result of the season for Nissan if they can hang on to it. Wayne Gardner 6th now, with Tsuchiya in the #8 Honda. This is Keiichi Tsuchiya, shares with Katsumoto Kaneishi. And the Dayglow and white Honda, the Autobax car, one of Mugen's racing Hondas. Run by the Arta team, tuned by Mugen. A great battle there under braking into turn 2. Gardner hangs on a fraction too long. Loses the place. That was pretty inevitable, and lucky to hang on to that one. Michigami through traffic, and that looks like the Kondo and Shimoda Toyota in front of him. It is indeed Kondo's car being passed and lapped by the race leader. That shows the prodigious pace of the Honda. Jeremy Dufour into the pits on lap 63. Now, they had a refueling problem, and they are stop-and-go penalised. Ditto for the #8 Honda. Well, that's for Tsushiya's clash with Gardner's Toyota. Well, gee, guys, come on, let them have a bit of racing room. Well, fairly reasonably, I suppose. Tsushiya did kind of aim for the curbs on the exit there to put Gardner off. The number one Toyota, the reigning champions, Takeuchi and Tachikawa, Yuji Tachikawa, they are pinged for passing under yellows. And close to the end of the race, Ryo Michigami out front. The Matsuda Honda in fourth place and waving drivers by towards the end of the race. Satoru Nakajima masterminding this. Why are they giving up places? Because they don't want penalty weight going into the final round. Well, told you Suzuka would be important for Honda, and that's how important it's going to be. So Matsuda will wave by cars to finish at the bottom of the top six and avoid picking up too much extra weight. The blue and white car being waved past, that's Wakasaka and Aida's Superflow Toyota. And here now comes the 36 car. Breezes by as well. And Matsuda had better mind his P's and Q's in traffic, because with cars going all over the place, we'll have to make sure that he doesn't accidentally have somebody trip up behind him and knock him off. That would be a complete nightmare. So Ryo Michigami still leading. Michael Krum and Satoshi Motoyama's Nissan in second place. This only a 250-kilometer race, shorter than most of the others in the series. Takeshi Tsuchiya and Wayne Gardner's car, which we just saw go by, incidentally, in third place. And Matsuda, well, he had better make sure he doesn't lose too many places. There is our race leader. Daisuke Ito started, Ryo Michigami doing the second stint and taking the lead impetuously and clinically from the Mobil 1 Honda. Brings his car to the line, and the Dome Honda wins convincingly with Mugen Honda rather wins convincingly with a very strong show of speed. Down in sixth place then, Furman and Matsuda's car, and well, that certainly puts Michigami and Ito into the championship frame. Wayne Gardner having his share of the champagne, and a fraction more there. Akira Aida and Yuichi Wakasaka then still the leaders, but Ito now up into third place in the series, just 3 from the lead. So, a bizarre race, incident, accident, lots of mistakes on cold tyres, some impressive speed from Michigami and his teammate Ito, putting him into the championship frame as they go to the final round. Just 3 points covering 5 drivers in the top of the series, and still within striking distance, Mitsusada in 6th and Furman and Matsuda in 7th place in the points. Last round of the season then at Suzuka in another 12 days time, and we will bring you that the following week here on Eurosport. So stay tuned for the decisive finale in the GT500 class. The VMAC winning again here in GT300 look a shoo-in for the title in that category.